From the Smith Center in Chapel Hill, this is TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me, as he always does, following a Carolina football and basketball game, our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And Andrew, we're here following UNC's 80-63 win over Elon on the Smith Center court right here. We're on a little bit of a time crunch because we're about to break these bleachers down, so we're trying to keep this quick.
Get loud.
Yeah, it's going to get loud, so bear with us. But, AJ, first thing I want to talk about, energy. I thought Carolina started off kind of flat. I think a lot of people, like Carolina fans who are watching, would agree with that as well. Pretty easy to see. But they picked it up. You saw that kind of shift towards the end of the first half, particularly in that second half as well, allowing Carolina to kind of pull away. But that was something we were talking about on Media Row early on. It just didn't look like Carolina was in it too much, interested as much as you thought they would be, and Elon was able to keep it close for a little bit, but that script eventually flipped, and Carolina ended up winning pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I think we saw that through their half-court offense tonight.
Yeah.
And Hubert said after the game, he was not happy. I think they had 11 assists, 16 turnovers, bad numbers, but they just weren't getting a lot of good looks.
Yeah.
I mean, Caleb hit 22 points. He had a couple threes from, like, I don't know, when you look on the state, what would that be?
Someone said the hickory on the state, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, all over the place in the state, and we should go put little flags on there and find out, Elizabeth City, that kind of thing.
It'd be interesting to know.
But that's what it took. But actually, the one thing I liked about it is that they weren't playing well. From a general basketball sense, there were some things that weren't really going very well for them, really on both ends for a while. But they found ways to manufacture points.
Yeah.
They generated 17 points off of offensive rebounds, second chance points. They got 23 points off of turnovers. They got out in the open court a lot. They forced, I think they had 12 steals. Of the 16 turnovers that they forced, 12 were steals. Armando had 4. So they were getting offense.
Different ways.
I mean, Caleb's threes were offense. Just, hey, 26 feet, let's let it go.
Let's let it go.
But it's offense. Points count. Whether it's a beautiful half-court possession with 12 passes that would make Gene Hackman and Hoosiers happy, or whether it's just a 3, there's still points. So I don't think it was a vintage Carolina performance in any way, shape, or form. I don't think they're going to bottle this up and place it somewhere for future generations to look back on. But I do think they got a little bit better tonight because they saw the value in crashing the boards. It was 8-8 at one point in rebounding, and Carolina ended up winning 48-24 in the glass. My math says that's 40-16 over the last 32 minutes or so of the game. That's dominance. That's effort. So it wasn't pretty, but you dial up some of that B12 stuff that Anthony Harris gave them in the first half, and you ride that to a victory. That's how you get better in games like this. It wasn't pretty.
No.
But Hubert can use this as a teaching tool and say, okay, guys, when you do these things, you can make up for some other stuff. But imagine what happens when you do those things and the other stuff's going on. Then they can be a damn good basketball team. So, not a memorable performance, but at least they did some pretty interesting things, some good things that Hubert was very pleased with.
Yeah, and you talk about two guys that had big games in particular. Caleb Love, 22 points. Dawson Garcia finished with the same. The two guys with over 20 points. Yeah. It's something we've seen this year from Carolina. It seems like every game, I think literally every game, Carolina's had a 20-point score. So it's why they've had a couple where they've had 2, a lot they've had 1, but it's been a theme for this team. They've had guys step up and get buckets. Caleb Love's been a big guy who's been doing that. Like I said, Dawson Garcia, the other guy tonight. But kind of culminating in Carolina's offense. And a lot of that came in the second half as well. But when you got guys like that, then come out there and get you buckets like that on every given night, someone giving you 20-plus points a game, that's huge. And I think that's one reason we saw Carolina able to win pretty easily, like I said.
Here's a foot exercise. If you're a diehard Carolina fan and you love to play around on the internet, you love to dive into box scores, go back to last season and click on every box score of the season. Go in order of the season and count up the number of 20-point games a Tar Heel had.
Didn't happen very much.
All right? They got more this year, and they're only 9 games in. They've had one each of the 9 games. They have 13 on the year. Tonight was the 4th time they've had 2 guys go for 20 or more. In a couple of games, like Purdue, for example, Dawson Garcia went for 25. They had 2 guys at 18. So what we're learning about this team is there's a gritty element we've seen a few times.
Most definitely,
We saw it tonight. But also, there's a go-off ability. Last year's team would go through those terrible stretches where they couldn't score. They have guys, it's like, okay, it's RJ's night, it's Dawson's night, it's Brady's night. A lot of the time it's becoming Caleb's night. Guys are able to just create points for the team on their own. Sometimes it's in concert with the other guys, but they have a go-off ability which you need to be able to navigate through the ACC, win on nights when you're not playing well like tonight, And also, when you forecast down the road, you look at what they might be come March. If you can manufacture points in other ways when your half court's not working and you have guys that can go off, that's how you sneak by.
It's huge, yeah.
That's how you get by one more round, and maybe the next game, they call it survive in advance,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
That's the stuff you need to survive in advance. So we've seen a lot of that through 9 games. We haven't seen a lot of pretty basketball yet. We haven't seen a lot of, Dean Smith poetry in motion stuff yet. We've seen sequences.
Yeah, we've seen glimpses, yeah.
But we haven't seen a lot of it, and there's plenty more season to come where we may see more of that. But we've seen some little fiber things these guys have that I think should give Carolina fans optimism that the ceiling for this club is a lot higher than what we've seen through 9 games.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But the go-off ability thing, and Caleb able to hit those threes from 25 feet, but also take guys off the dribble, pump fake, go baseline right over here, and dunk right there, that little windmill thing. His game is exploding. We're seeing all kinds of stuff just like explode out of this basketball box that is Caleb Love. And you also need a great player to make a run. And if you have a great player who's got the ball in his hands a lot, like Caleb Love, that's another element to whatever it is they're going to become. 9 games in, you got to like a lot of these things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff still not to like. There's a lot of stuff you kind of wait and see.
Work in progress, yeah.
But what we've seen so far, there's a couple of really positive things that we think this team is. This is part of who this team is and will be moving forward. And we saw a couple of those things tonight.
Yeah, it's always good when you got guys pitching in 20-plus points a game. That helps you win, especially helps you play well on offense, too. Last thing I want to talk about, like we always do, what does this mean? Obviously, Furman coming up on Tuesday here in Chapel Hill, and Carolina heads out to Vegas for a really tough matchup with, I think, number 4 ranked UCLA out in Las Vegas. So, tough game. Got Furman kind of in between. Then you got you got a good little in between game before you go play a really good team in UCLA. But I think getting this win, like you said, it wasn't vintage Carolina night. It wasn't a great performance from Carolina night. Hubert Davis will go tell you that. Go check out his post-game interview as well. You can find that on our YouTube channel. But AJ, for you, what does this win mean for the Tar Heels?
I think we kind of hit on it a little bit. I love December basketball.
Yeah, important.
Just because November is, okay, what you got?
Yeah.
December basketball is, let's fix some things
some stuff,
weren't right. We've seen them fix stuff. They've had a good December so far.
Yeah, they have, yeah. No doubt about it.
And then you start to kind of gather as you get through December. And games like this can be really telling because things that don't work very well against an Elon or against a Furman are clearly things you got to really kind of fix. And their offense has actually been pretty good this year.
It has been good, yeah.
But they have to understand they can't rely on it. And that's what the beauty of tonight is. So what does this mean? It means that they've won, 4 in a row?
Yeah, 4 in a row.
They've won 4 in a row. They've been able to kind of put together wins that show a little bit of fire.
Yeah.
And they've had different guys step up. And during this 4-game winning streak, I have to go back and look at the 20-point guys, but you got Garcia, you got RJ, you got Caleb, you got Armando, you got Brady. That's 5.
Spreading it, yeah.
In his 4-game win streak. So when they run out of that tunnel, somebody in that group is going to go for 20 plus.
Yeah, it's nice
when
to
they
have.
run out of that tunnel, they're going to figure out at some point if they got to, throw down some spinach and kind of flex a little bit and do some of those things. They're going to do that.
Oh yeah.
There are a lot of people that perceive this group as being soft and very finesse-oriented because of the Tennessee game. A lot of the national opinion about this team
shifted
is what they saw that afternoon because there were some national people there, and they raked them over the coals, and they deserve to be raked over the coals for that performance. But the day before, they were pretty rugged.
Yeah, they were good.
And they've been pretty rugged since then. So I think what this means is I think they're learning that they have a lot of elements to who they are. But they also know that there are a lot more elements that they can become that aren't really refined or even close to being refined yet. So this is a building process. This is a growing process.
Process, yeah.
Yeah, process. We talk all about football, yeah. But this really is, and I think that what we saw tonight, what we've seen the last couple of weeks, is that process in full swing. There's a churning method going on right now. If Hubert could put on an apron, he could just churn, 1680 style, right?
Yeah, literally.
And I think that's what's kind of fun about watching this club, because what you see, what did we say a month ago? What you see now, you won't see a few months from now. I think what you see now is different from what we saw Loyola and Brown.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different in a month from now, and it's going to be different 2 months from now, and then 3 months from now when they really start playing for something incredibly significant. So they're in that process, and we've seen enough good things to believe that more is coming down the road.
Definitely. Good win for the Tar Heels tonight over Elon, 80-63 here in the Smith Center. For all your coverage from tonight's game, make sure you check out our YouTube channel, and make sure you check out TarHeelIllustrated.com. Link is in the description below. Like I said, another one coming up on Tuesday against Furman. AJ will be back here for another game. So coming thick and fast this time of year, man. It's
4 and 11 days.
4 and 11 days, man. A lot of games. But somehow we beat the breaking down the bleachers crowd. I know there was a little bit of ruckus in there, but I was expecting a lot worse. So we did an all right job on that one. So we'll run before our luck runs out.
Got about an hour before they kick us out anyway.
Literally, don't have much
You
time.
got to go up there and hack away now.
I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. As always, guys, like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell as well so you know every single time we upload. We'll see you in the next one.
Thanks.
Thanks.